Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be checking out the brand new Justice League action. This is The Flash. Let's see how tall Flash is. We'll grab the tape measure. He's a little bit taller than Blue Beetle. He's close to about 4 3/4 of an inch tall. Flash gets a rather interesting looking accessory. It's one of those flick firing discs. If you grew up in the 80s, you probably had a couple of toys that had these. Actually, even some of the 90s toys had these as well. It comes with this kind of circular disc. Kind of looks like a buzzsaw blade. And it fits just inside like so. Now to fire it, you can either squeeze it, sometimes that works, or you would just push the edge. And it's got a very fast, very quick response. Let me see if I can actually just fire it off here. Shoots off like that. You can get a much bigger range of distance. There we go. That's a little bit more. That's not as pathetic. But yeah, you know, it's not a bad looking little accessory. Flash has to come with something. At least it's not like a scooter or something relative to speed, which would make absolutely no sense whatsoever. You can tab it into his back, like so. Of course, you can have it facing the other way as well, depending on which way you want to have Flash holding it. Or you can also put it into his hand as well. The pegs in his back are the same sized pegs as that of in his hands, so you can display it either or. Again, it's not terrible. I mean, at least if you're going to give us something, it doesn't affect the figure. It doesn't change anything about the figure itself. The figure is still a really good superposable version of Flash. I don't mind this. I mean, again, I would never probably display him with it, but it is what it is. Putting him down just for a second. He's got flat feet, but he doesn't seem to have nearly as much the issue that what I had with Blue Beetle. And I'm looking at the 2 feet here. Flash, as you can see, does have longer feet than that of Blue Beetle. And he doesn't seem to have as much the angled feet either than what Blue Beetle has. So getting him to stand doesn't seem to be so much the issue. To be fair, though, even despite the fact Flash has better footing, to put the backpack onto his back, like that, he does have a big problem standing. Like, it automatically makes him extremely back heavy. And he's fallen over a couple of times already, putting the backpack into his back like so. Well, let's go ahead and move Blue Beetle out of the way, as we've already had a look at him. Take this off as well. Flash as a whole actually is a decent enough looking representation of Flash. Now, this is certainly one instance where looking at this figure, this reminds me instantly of like the old Justice League figures, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited figures. I was collecting anything and everything that line released. I seem to be picking it up. And I kind of regret that I got rid of a lot of those figures and I didn't really do full reviews on all, because I basically had like all the line. And now I'm kind of living it through almost a second outing here with the Justice League action figures, because the figures again look like the old Justice League Unlimited figures, just much more posable. Let's have a look at the Flash's face, which I suppose is one of the better aspects and one of the worst aspects of the figure, and let me explain a little bit further what I mean by that. His face is actually a decent enough sculpt, and I like the face, the little mouth indicator there and nose. But one of the problems that this figure and many other figures seem to face is that they always end up muddying the flesh tone that they end up putting on the figure sculpt. So it ends up just looking really chalky, really muddy, and really dirty in color. I wish the flesh tone was a little bit lighter. Something as much, too, that I could make out the mouth a little bit easier than what I am right now. The eyes are good, but I don't feel like they're nearly enough, they're nearly bright enough. They should have been a lot whiter than what they are. They almost seem like a second coat of white could have maybe been afforded here on the Flash. The front emblem is good. Symbol is good for the Flash. Not too many issues there. And then we get to the lightning bolts on his wrists. This one's not so bad, but this one right here has all this extra yellow little flecks of paint. speckled all across his forearm. It gets a little dirty here too, a little messy on the front lightning bolt. And for some strange reason, let me just move his arms out of the way so you can see it. Right here, the back seems to have a darker shade of yellow than what we're getting on the front, and just doesn't seem like things line up as they should. The boots are generally okay, but you can clearly see, especially on this one here, how it's been painted over top of red plastic. Just seems off. It doesn't seem clean. It doesn't seem smooth. It does seem like a little bit of an imperfection there. Peg holes on the undersides of his feet, but sadly they don't come with any sort of display stands to speak of. One thing to note as well is that the plastic red seems to change in varying areas of the Flash. The legs are actually a decent enough color, but then the lower legs are a different shade of red than the thigh, than this part right here. The forearm on this side is a darker red than what we get here, and this red is a different red that's in the middle section here. In fact, this whole arm right here is a completely different shade of red than the top part of the bicep here on this Flash. This one also feels like it's a little bit of rougher plastic. This side here feels like it's a smoother plastic. So I don't know if they used a couple of different batches of plastic to make this guy, but some of the reds just really unfortunately don't line up. Posability on this guy, his head is on a ball joint, so we can rotate his head all the way around like so. I also like the little lightning bolts on the side. Those are generally clean and they have not broken off yet, so I've broken my curse of lightning bolts breaking on my Flash figures. Universal joints on the arms, so that's one of the things that you can benefit from the new line in getting that the old Justice League Unlimited figures didn't have, was that those only had swivels. You got the bend in the elbow, a rotation in the lower arm. Also got a rotation in the waist. Split on the legs. And then you can do a forward back motion on the legs, a bend at the knee, which also allows the lower leg to rotate, like so. And of course you got that bend in the knee as well. I've already indicated, mentioned it again, peg holes on the undersides of feet. Unfortunately though, Flash, like Blue Beetle and like all the other Justice League action figures, doesn't come with any sort of display stand to speak of. Really digging the look of Justice League Action Flash. Really reminds me of the old Justice League Unlimited figures, so I'm kind of digging the fact that they are continuing to release Justice League Action figures. I hope they continue with many more waves to come. Flash is a decent enough looking figure. Really like the sculpt on his face. His flesh tone is a little on the muddy side and leaves something to be desired. And speaking of something to be desired, I still can't figure out why they would have used different degrees, different colorings of red plastic for his body. Again, some of the reds just don't line up. Some reds are a little bit darker than others, some a little bit muddier than others. It really seems like he's a Frankenstein of different red plastics. Still, for a Flash figure, I really do like the look of him, and I think I like him a little bit more than the Blue Beetle that we looked at in the previous review. If you guys haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to this channel, make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below. Of course, more videos will be coming your way. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.